back to Wounded on Sixes. Today we're going to be taking a look at my round one matchup for my 40K Summer League taking place at my local game store. This is a 6-week tournament with 5 rounds, 1 week being a bye week, where you get to pick an army and can change your detachment and up to 500 points each week before you know who the next matchup is. This is my round one against Vlad's Death Guard, and I'm taking my Mont'ka Tau list to this tournament. Now, right now it's Mont'ka, and I'm going to go over the list, and I'm going to go over Vlad's list. We're going to go over the rules, the layout that we took, and then we're going to look at some screenshots of the battle and go over the scoring and all that. So if you're interested in 40K competitive play, this is the video for you. So let's get started with my Mont'ka list. So I'm taking the Tau Mont'ka, and I have a Coldstar commander with Quad Fusion who's going to be in a unit of Sunforge as my warlord. We're doing the Quad Fusion because we want to give them as much firepower as possible. I don't like to bring the shield drone or the shield generator on my Coldstar because, honestly, if he's attacked the unit, he can get the invul from the Sunforge units themselves. So the commander and enforcer battlesuit with 4 missile pods, he's going to be with a Fireknife unit, all with quad missiles. Really like the missiles. They're very effective against a lot of things in the meta. Strength 7, -1, 2 damage. We can get that up to -2. The lethal hits is really, really effective. I like to start these guys on the board as well. And then we have another commander in Enforcer Battlesuit. He's going to have Exemplar, the Mont'ka, and he's going to be with a Starscythe unit with burst cannons. He's going to have 2 missile pods and 2 plasma rifles. And he's going to also have the 2 shield drones with him. All of them are going to have the shield drones there. We're then going to have 3 units of Stealth Battlesuits, and these guys are just the workhorses. A lot of people are only taking 2. I want 3 because I want to have a unit that can, when it's not guiding, do some actions, hang out on an objective, maybe do something in a ruin. So I like to bring the 3, and then I also have a unit of Vespid Stingwings because they're great for bopping around the board. 3 units of broadsides. We're maxing out their weapons because we want these guys to be little tanky gunboats that can go all around. Their rail rifles are very, very effective against enemy armor. We then have the Fireknife battlesuits that are going to be with the Enforcer. They all have missiles. The Starscythe, they all have burst cannons. And the Sunforge, obviously, all have the fusion guns. 2 Ghostkeel Battlesuits. These guys are the stars of the list. They're going to be our main strategic advantage against other armies. They're stealth. They're lone op. They're very, very hard to take down, and they have a 2-up armor. It's just really, really effective. It also has stealth, so they're very, very difficult to deal with. We then have 2 Piranhas. These guys are great in the Mont'ka because they have scout and they can move 14. We can also advance with them. They're great for move blocking. They're great for getting early shots on enemy tanks with their seeker missiles. They're very, very effective, and they're also good in the Mont'ka for the pinpoint counteroffensive stratagem, where whatever kills them, we get full rerolls to hit against them for the rest of the game. We then have a Riptide Battlesuit. He's going to have the big cannon, twin fusion, and his missile drones. Just a really effective unit for kiting, especially on the flanks of the board. Really like that. And finally, following up with the Sky Ray, really good at taking down enemy planes, enemy flyers. We're going to see it do some work against some bloat drones in this matchup here. So this is the Mont'ka list that I brought to my round 1 matchup. Moving right along, we're going to come to my opponent, Vlad's List, and I've played Vlad a couple of times before. He's a regular at the shop. Really great guy, really good competitor, and we had a really good game here. He's bringing a very, very difficult list. Virulent Vectorum, he's bringing Mortarion, 3 LOCs. 2 of them are going to have enhancements. The one that gives him dev wounds, the other one that gives him lethals on 5s. And then 1 just regular, a Lord of Virulence, and a Tallyman round out his characters. He's then got 3 units of Death Shroud. Each one of those Lords of Contagion are going to be in each of those Death Shroud. 2 units of Poxwalkers, pretty standard, one to put out in the middle of the board, one to put on your home objective, and then 3 heavy blight launcher drones, 3 mephitic blight haulers to round it out. So very, very spammy, virulent Vectorum list. Very, very difficult. I was particularly worried about the mephitic blight haulers because they get +1 to hit and wound against monsters and vehicles, and most of my army is vehicles. Also, the fetid bloat drones can be a real issue. So the other thing that I was worried about going into the game was the ability to, especially with the haulers, drive them up the board to put my units in contagion to then drop Death Shroud on them. So that was something I definitely wanted to mitigate against my opponent. The Death Shroud, they're very, very difficult to deal with, especially if they can drop within 6. You're pretty much dead. The Lords of Contagion meant that whatever they touched was dying. I mean, the Lord of Contagion is probably the most broken model in the Death Guard Codex, in my opinion, as a Death Guard player. Mortarian's also a beast. But I figured he would try to be pretty, careful with Mortarion, just because Mortarion's a great support piece that can reach out and smack you around. So very difficult list. I definitely was a little bit, nervous about going up against this list. Death Guard is a very, very difficult army right now. And I, was definitely looking at this list with some concern. Although I think if any army can take down Death Guard, it is Tau, because Death Guard is very susceptible to enemy shooting. So this was a Vlad's list. So moving along to the mission and the layout, we were playing the ritual, and again, these missions are predetermined by the tournament organizers every week. So we were on the ritual, which, for those who don't know how the ritual works, you basically have your home objective, a middle objective, and no other objectives on the board. And you can essentially, by performing an action, build an objective more than 12 away from an existing objective marker, but no closer than 6 to another one. So that sounds kind of confusing, but once you get the geometry of that down, it's actually a pretty easy concept to come along with. We then had Crucible of Battle, which would be our deployment zone, and then the twist was Martial Pride. Advancing still allowed battle line units to perform actions as well as shooting. Me and Vlad don't have any battle line units in either of our lists, so the twist really didn't apply to us at all. And we were on layout 1, so if you think about it, we'd be from the middle here on my cursor all the way to the edge, and this is the side that we set up on, and this is the side that Vlad's Death Guard set up on. Now, deployments, my game plan going in with the ritual was basically to set up this corner of the board here as my ritual building objectives. So basically build an objective here, build an objective here, build an objective here, and kind of just try to farm and score as many primary points in this corner as I could, while keeping Vlad's Death Guard busy in his corner as much as possible, and then hoping that the secondaries go my way and I can outscore him, seeing how he doesn't have as much units as I do to do actions, and he kind of wants to use them all to shoot. So this was my plan going in, and I feel like I effectively did that plan. But again, still a tough matchup, although I think the ritual put it kind of in my favor, just because I can out activation him and kind of out deploy him as well, which made it really nice. And then I also still had some deep strike threats to match his Death Shroud. So if I went second, I could definitely kind of try to counter them if I needed to. So that was my plan going in to the matchup. So starting off with the deployments, I'm going to go with Vlad's Death Guard first. So thinking about my strategy here, I want to make sure that this side of the board is clear of Death Guard. I don't want him involved here. I want to be able to build an objective here, here, and here. So he puts one of his Blight Haulers here. Now the reason the Blight Haulers are a problem is they can move 10 inches, and then once they move, they put things into contagion, especially round 2, and then he can get a Death Shroud into this area. And that's what I want to avoid the entire time. He's got all three of his bloat drones back here. Again, these are just proxies. He did run them all as having heavy blight launchers. There is a tally man sitting in here ready to just generate him CP, and then of course he has a unit of Poxwalkers spread out here. He's got Mortarion and the two other fetid or Mephitic Blight Haulers right here, and then he's got a unit of Poxwalkers that are infiltrating right here. So with this deployment, again, like I said, I want to set up over here so you can see right here we have the classic Build the Night workshop. One Ghostkeel over here, one Ghostkeel over here. This Ghostkeel is going to be exactly 12 inches away from this objective, so he can kind of scoot and build an objective marker. These stealth suits are going to just kind of hang out here, especially because he put most of his heavy stuff on this side of the board. So I felt like they're not going to have anything to guide that first turn, probably even maybe turn 2. So these guys are going to hang out here and build a second objective for me. And then I have the Ghostkeel here to kind of take a peek down this firing lane and also, throw some pot shots down with his 36-inch range cyclic ion raker. And then he can come out about here and build me a third objective marker with the ritual. I have a broadside unit here just to provide some heavy fire support. So should that hauler come this way or the bloat drones come waddling over here, there's some heavy fire support to take out those vehicles. I have a unit of Starscythe, or I'm sorry, Fire Knives with missiles. These guys are here kind of to run up the middle if they can, but they're really there for Death Shroud protection because they're really good into Death Shroud because they're 2 damage each, and if we use the focus fire stratagem, we can give them AP2, so we're hitting on the invul. The Ghostkeel, of course, is here. That's going to be building me an objective in the first turn. We have a unit of stealth suits here, a unit of stealth suits here. That way they can pop out here, and give me guides down all the firing lanes, including these guys here. So, as you can see, I'm placing them where they're going to get me guides down every single firing lane. The Riptide and 2 broadsides over here. This broadside here is going to try to take a pot shot at this guy here to start out with, because if I can take this out, most of the threats are on this side of the board, and I won't have to worry about him running up and putting a Death Shroud there. I also have the Piranha here, and then another Piranha's over here. They are there to basically feed these guys some fish, run them out there, throw their seeker missiles, get killed, tag whatever kills them with the pinpoint counteroffensive. And that's really the deployment here. And I'm feeling really good because most of his stuff is on this side of the board and not threatening over here besides this. So if I can put some shots down into this guy, I could be in some really good shape. We're now moving into the beginning of, or the end of round 1 here with this picture. And as you can see, I brought the Ghostkeel out here. I built an objective like I said I was going to. I also had my Piranhas. I ended up going first. So I drove one Piranha up here 9 inches, then drove him over here 14 inches, and kind of like move blocked his drones from getting out of this space here. I then brought the other one 9 inches, 14 inches. I think I even gave him a little bit of an advance to get him over here. What else did I do? I moved this Ghostkeel over down this corner so that he can get a line of sight on Mortarion and the 2 Blight Haulers that are there. Everything else I kind of kept back, just kind of shuffled over my Crisis suits here, making it so that they can run out in the middle. Should he drop some Death Shroud here in the middle, these guys are going to try to stop him from doing anything. My first turn, I popped this Mephitic Blight Hauler that was right here with the broadside. I hit him with 2 railgun shots. They were both dev wounds, and I did exactly 10 damage. He blew up. And then with the guide that I put on Mortarion over here, I put a couple of seeker missiles and a fusion blaster into him. I did, I think, 7 wounds. I think I got him down to 9 wounds. He ended up doing a reactive shoot and killing one of my Piranhas, so I tagged him with the pinpoint counteroffensive. In his turn, he kind of shuffled over here, killed the other bloat drone, moved his Poxwalker out into the middle of the board here to score a secondary, and I pinpoint counteroffensive the other bloat drone or the hauler here. So this is the end of turn one, and unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of the next turn, and then the 2 rounds after that that I got pictures of were so blurry I just couldn't include them in the video. So I'm going to try to recap here what happened the rest of the game, and then we'll look at the final score here. But essentially what happened was when I saw this, that I was going to be able to build my little factory with nothing like pressuring me over here, I was feeling really good. And I decided at this point I should drop my Starscythe and my Sunforge here and try to take out Mortarion. I moved and advanced this broadside over. I also brought my Crisis team here to try to shoot at these Poxwalkers. He used his reactive move to move them off and then deny me full area denial. It was a really good clutch play by my opponent. And this is where the game kind of went wrong for me. The Sunforge put 6 wounds into Morty. He passed all of them with 4-up saves, and the Starscythes didn't do anything. Took a couple of wounds off the hauler here. I think I also whiffed with the railgun into Mortarion here, and I had Bring It Down. And I also had a challenger card to kill an enemy unit. Because of the move by the Poxwalkers into here and the failure to do any damage here, I did not score. And unfortunately, that 7-point swing in round 7 was kind of a difference maker, which ended up losing me the game in the long run. But the plan worked because I was able to keep a lot of parity with him. He ended up bringing the Death Shroud in, destroying all these guys. I ended up moving out the Riptide, and at that point, once the Death Shroud came down, I had to do something. So he brought his bloat drones out turn 2. He ended up putting some wounds into my crisis suits here. It was really good to have the cover and then the enforcer. I was able to mitigate a lot of the AP coming from the drones. He was going to try to attack this Ghostkeel, but he forgot that it had lone op, so he couldn't target them because he was not close enough. And then his Death Shroud came over, killed both of my crisis suits, who did basically nothing all game. And then on my turn, I ended up wiping out all the bloat drones. So all of his bloat drones were dead. He had one more Death Shroud in Deep Strike, which he ended up putting down here after I moved out. And proceeded to, kill my Riptide, kill my Broadside, kill my last Crisis Suit unit. But he couldn't do anything about the Sky Ray lived and ended up killing Mortarion in round 4. I really fought back those last couple of rounds, and it really just came down to a couple of points that I just didn't score. I mean, I played a very tight game. I feel good about it, but sometimes the score doesn't always work out in your favor. So let's take a look at that score sheet now. In the end, it's an 84-89 defeat, but I really cannot be sad about this because I really do feel like I played exceptionally. My whole plan came together, and outside of this round 2 here, where I wasn't able to score the challenger card that I had, I wasn't able to bring it down. I mean, even just bringing down that hauler would have been 4 points here and 3 points for that. That would have been 7 more points. That would have been a win right there. All he had to do was fail some of those Mortarion saves. All he had to do was fail, or me get a hit on the hauler. It just didn't happen. We just couldn't make it happen, and that was really the difference. That turn 3, I really turned it around here with I got the all in, and then I finally got the bring it down and the behind enemy lines for 4 points. So that was really nice. And then again, you could see here in round 4, I start to break the parity in the in the primary. In fact, I took one of the objectives he built out in front of his starting base. So that was really nice. But as you can see, my opponent was able to score his secondary all game long. I mean, he got the right pulls in the right time. I mean, assassination, he'd killed all of my characters by then, so he just got the assassination. The no prisoners, the cleanse. I mean, it it, it was pretty good for a round one, or rounds 1 through 5 for him in the secondary. I just pulled some really bad cards here. I got Storm Hostile and Assassination round 5. I paid a CP and then ended up getting no prisoners. And at this point, I just couldn't kill anything. He had nothing but like Death Shroud left and Terminator. So like there was just and Terminator character, sorry. So there was like just nothing I can do there. I did very well here in round 4 with my secondaries and the parity, and I mean at this point I'm ahead a couple of points. So really it just came down the dice, and if you're gonna lose anything, that's the way you want to lose, by dice and cards. And it was a very, very close game. And what I would say to people out there having trouble against Death Guard is, you need to play against their weaknesses. And their weakness is movement, their weakness is activations. It's not the kind of gameplay that people want to play with Tau. Like, they want to just kill, kill, kill. And you can do that. But you need to remember that when it all comes together for them, they will kill you faster than you can kill them. So you need to be planning ahead with your mission play and with your actions and stuff like that. I think that the reason I was able to score so much was because of the ritual. I planned for it. I knew what my plan would be. And I think the ritual is really good for Tau because you do have a lot of units that can do the actions necessary to perform it, get the objective, and then hang out on it. So particularly those Ghostkeels, I mean, absolutely fantastic. They're just sitting down there holding objectives, shooting away with their cyclic ion rakers, and there wasn't much he could do about it. He literally just kind of gave up on that side of the board, and that's exactly what I wanted him to do. He wasn't aggressive. He was constantly worried about his side of the board, and he just happened to draw better cards than me. He just happened to have a couple of better saves and some really key moments. So you can't feel bad about a loss like that. So this is the game. This is round 1. Disappointing, but of the people that lost their league games, I had the highest score, so I cannot complain about that. So let me know what you think about this video. Go ahead and give me a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be covering all 5 rounds of this Warhammer League going on at my local game store this month. So thanks for watching, and make sure you come back for more Wounded on Sixes.